Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but this is a night walk, and I'm hoping you can get enough light from these porch lights on these different houses to be able to listen to my story. But I just had another story that I thought I would try. An interesting story from my life. I think it's interesting, but it's from Japan. When we were living in Japan, let's see, I think we had two children at the time, two young children, and we're living in Japan. Let's see, probably maybe late 80s, early 90s, something like that. I'm gonna try. Oh boy, you're not going to be able to see me very well, but hopefully you can hear this and listen to it and enjoy the story. And maybe you don't even have to watch the video to enjoy the story. But anyways, interesting commentary on the culture of Japan in a sense. Anyways, when I was working I think I was working for United Airlines in Tokyo, and we were living out in the country in Midoriku in Yokohama, out on the what is it, Dan Toshi line, out there in Kakinokidai, and it's quite a train ride. And then from the train station, it was a good 15-20 minute walk for me to get home. We lived in an apartment building, a smaller apartment building. I think we lived on the third floor. There was maybe three story. It was 3, 4, or 5 story building. I can't remember, but anyways, every Sunday night, like clockwork, these hoodlums on motorcycles they're called Bousouzoku. The kind of reckless rider Japan motorcycle gang. And they don't actually do any harm or cause any damage, but they just make a lot of noise. And this is their rebellion, I guess. And this happened like clockwork on a Sunday night. Around midnight, they would, I wouldn't say it was constantly up and down our street, but they'd at least make several passes every Sunday night, or was it Saturday night? I think it was a Sunday night. And they would just rev their engines, causing as much noise as possible. It didn't sound like they had a muffler on their exhaust, just loud, banging motorcycle noises. And they would travel in groups of, I don't know, maybe 10 to 20 hoodlums. Again, other than making a racket and causing a huge annoyance to the people of the town, they're actually not committing any, well, other than that, I don't know if that's a crime in Japan or not, but I'll tell you what I did. I was so livid. I would secretly just fume and just listen to that and go, oh my heavens, if I had I thought to myself, I mean, I wouldn't have done this, but I thought it, I mean, evil thoughts of, oh, if I wish I had a wire or a fishing wire that I could just go stretch across the street about, body height, and just have them run into this, it would maybe make them think twice about it. But anyways, luckily, it didn't develop beyond that. Just a crazy thought I had. But I did think of this. Okay, one of these days, I can't remember what day of the week it was, down at the train station, there's a police office, a police station, with 2 or 3 officers stationed there. I'm going to go make a formal complaint. I'm going to go make a formal complaint about these hoodlums and demand that the police do something about it. And then I went there. And you know what they said? They said, oh, well, we don't do anything about them. If we were to chase them and then one of them to get hurt in an accident, then we would be held liable, and blah, 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 public opinion against the police, blah, blah, blah. We would become an enemy of the people. And right now, in Japan, I guess they have a reputation of being a friend of the people. And so I'm sorry, they said, we're sorry, we will not do anything about that. I go, oh wow, this would never happen in America. Americans would not put up with this. We would not put up with this. But in Japan, they do. Oh, what if we were to chase them and then one of them were to crash on their motorcycle and, heaven forbid, die? Then we would be held liable. I thought, oh my heavens, this is in my, as a young parent, I thought, oh, what a foolish thing for police officers. What a foolish way of keeping the peace. I thought then. I kind of think differently now. I I think, maybe they're right. Maybe they have us. Let the kids blow off some steam. But they're a nuisance. So, yeah, I guess I lived there in a rented apartment. Okay, there's a dog barking at me here. I lived there in a rented apartment, so I wasn't going to be there long. I could put up for a little while, but if I was a permanent resident, oh man, how would you like that every Sunday night, like clockwork? Just be all these, gang of motorcycle hoodlums just make as much loud noise as possible. And in the States, we have that occasionally. In my neighborhood, somebody will hear a motorcycle, the random motorcycle go up the street with just kind of with a very loud engine, or car with a very loud engine, no muffler. It sounds like no muffler. And they are, want to be as big of a nuisance as possible. And yeah, so as a parent, I don't know. As a parent now, I guess. Anyways, it goes to show you how patient the Japanese can be. Oh my heavens! Oh my heavens! And so they have a very peaceful society, and I guess cooler heads prevail, and maybe this police policy is the correct way to go with their youth. I don't know. And then the kids grow out of this. He'll grow out of it. That's kind of the attitude. Yeah, they're just blowing off steam. They're not doing anything very harmful. And if we go chase them, but they're blowing off steam, and they'll grow out of it. You know, they may be right. But wow, what a way to order your society. So, okay. And then I'm going to jump to a Delta Airlines. When I was a flight attendant, Delta Airlines, flying to and from Japan very often, I would occasionally have a plane full, not 100% full, but you know, a student group in the back of the plane in economy, a bunch of students. They're going to America, maybe for the first time, I don't know. But this one flight had I think we were going from Japan to probably LA. And, or maybe Salt Lake, I can't remember. And we used to have a direct flight. And I was on the cart taking drink orders. And this one student, I said, hey, can I take your drink here? What would you like? He said, like a Diet Coke or Coke. I think it was a Diet Coke. And if you know Diet Cokes, they are the least favorite drink of flight attendants. Here's why. They fizz up the highest, fizz down the slowest, and so pouring a drink just takes forever. But anyways, so I popped this Diet Coke, and I go to pour it in. Oh no, I popped the Diet Coke. I'm about to pour this guy's drink, and it slips out of my hand. It slips out of my hand, and then it becomes a volcano of fizz, and it goes up in the air, and it lands on this student's face. And I felt so bad. I go, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And he laughed it off. You know, had to wipe his face. I needed a towel to wipe his face. I think I may have given him a blanket to wipe his face. But no anger. He just, it was probably, to him, it was probably, oh, here's a story I can tell when I get back. But he was so good natured about it. And then we went back for a second pass for drink orders. And I said, what would you like to drink? And he said, Coke or Diet Coke again. I said, would you like this one over the top of the head as well? And he laughed. And all the students laughed. You know, I felt like I was, you know, a comedian on stage. I was like, I had him eating out of the palm of my hand, kind of, so to speak. But anyways, was this right turn? I can't remember. Anyways, I'm going down a less steep, less traveled walking path. But anyways, how many minutes? Oh, it's 13 minutes. Okay, that's about as long as I like to make videos go. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Let's see, there I am. I hope you enjoyed it in the dark, and you really didn't need to see my face, but it's kind of hard probably to see a dark screen and listen to a story like that. But thank you for listening. Bye-bye.